Hello, so I am going to show you how to make guacamole using frozen avocados. I had some ripe avocados about 2 months ago that were going bad. So what I did was I cut them in half. I took them out of their skin. I put them in this food safe bag and ziplocked or sucked all the air out and put it in the freezer. Since most produce or cooked food shouldn't really be in the freezer longer than 3 months, these are starting to hit their expiration date. So I'm going to pull them out and use them for tacos today. You can see because the air was completely sucked out, they're still green. Some pieces were brown, but they were brown when I put them in here, so it's not from being in the freezer. So I'm going to cut these open, and I'm going to put this in a bag, or in a bowl here. I'm just going to use my hands. Let's see if you can see that. I'm going to use my hands to kind of squeeze out all the rest of it from here. There we go. This is trash. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in 1 jalapeno. It's already been diced. Half of a white onion that's already been diced up. The juice of 1 lime, and some salt, some pepper, and some citric acid. And before anybody starts freaking out about citric acid, this is something that is naturally occurring in citrus fruit like lemons, pineapples, all of that good stuff. The manufactured kind obviously is processed, but if you eat anything that comes in a can, fruits, vegetables, soda, anything that comes prepackaged or pre-prepared, you're eating citric acid. So it may not be the best thing for you, but it's something that we do consume on a regular basis. And I'm just going to put a little bit of citric acid into the guacamole, and that's to preserve it so that it won't turn brown when it's in my fridge. Because I might not eat all of this avocado today, I want that citric acid in there so that it'll stay nice and green for at least a couple days. Some natural ways that you can do this is by keeping the pit of the avocado in the mix and covering it with plastic. That'll help keep it from turning brown quickly. But again, since I froze these earlier, I don't have option of doing that avocado pit, so I'm gonna go to citric acid. So I'm going to add all of this stuff in here. I'm going to mix it all together, adjust for seasoning, salt, pepper, more lime. I'm not going to use too much lime because citric acid already has a lime lemony flavor, and you don't want it to be too zesty. So I'm going to do 1/2 of a lime first and then add the citric acid, see how it does, and then adjust that from there. Some tips I would recommend when using frozen avocado or when freezing your avocados. It's not going to look pretty when it comes out of the freezer. It kind of looks gross, but it's going to look delicious once you mix it all together, and it doesn't taste too well without the mix, like the salt and pepper, the lime, and all that stuff. So I wouldn't recommend just spooning this onto your toast without seasoning and some love, or else it's just going to taste like what it is, which is frozen avocado. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this all together, and I'll let you watch that happen here so you can see the final outcome. So I don't use a lot of ingredients. I know there's some avocados that have, or some guacamole recipes that have tons and tons of stuff in there. I try to keep it simple because I just like the flavor of avocado. So I'm just going to use a little bit of salt, a pinch of salt, a pinch of pepper, sorry, and a pinch of salt. Again, you always want to do less than more with salt and pepper because you can always add more, you can't take it out. I'm just going to do a little pinch, 2 pinches of citric acid here, and then I'm going to add in my vegetables. Boom. And then I'm going to add the juice of 1/2 of a lime. Again, not too much because you don't want it to be too limey. And then I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to mash this together Just using a regular fork because the avocados have been in the freezer. They're going to be softer and they're just going to kind of come together like a puree versus how you would with a fresh avocado. So boom, you can see how it's coming together. It kind of looks like what you would find in a restaurant, a Mexican restaurant. Sometimes they use pre-made mixes or they use powders. So give that a taste. It needs definitely needs more salt, more pepper, a little bit more citric acid. Again, we're just doing a little bit at a time because we can always add more, but we can't take out the pepper and the salt and the citric acid flavor without adding more avocados, which I don't have right now. So salt, pepper, more pepper, another lime, these limes are a little not juicy, so I might open up another one. So just keep mixing. And the citric acid also helps gives it a more brighter color. So, perfect. And I know I'm using the same fork, but this is for myself, so it's fine. If I was using, obviously if I was making a guac for a client or for guests, I would use different forks and different tasting stuff because you don't want cross-contamination. So there we go. That's how you make guac from frozen avocados. Some things to remember when doing freezing your avocados: always slice them in half, take the skins off, take the seed out, and lay them flat together, and then freeze them. You can also pre-mash them and put them into a container and freeze them. That'll make it easier for you to break off pieces as you need them. But I'm going to use all of this today, and the citric acid is going to help keep this nice bright green color. Enjoy!